Hi there, I'm back on some pasture. I'm in an area of the field which has been brilliant if you've seen previous videos, especially for Saxon stuff. But I'm in an area which I've not really done before, a bit of away from it, and it's okay, lots of signals, nothing much to write home about quite yet. I found a tiny little Roman coin, a Georgian buckle, some quite interesting lead. I don't even know what I've done with the coin. I was showing it to someone just now and I've done something with it, but it wasn't really any great shakes. It's the most beautiful day. It was warm an hour ago. It's suddenly getting very, very cold, and I know what's happening. There's a very cold wind coming from the north this afternoon and it's already coming in, but I'm quite well prepared. I've got lots of kit on. Yeah, a Georgian buckle, a whole one, which is nice. Shoe buckle, I would have thought. The most incredible hoop. If you know me from these videos, you know I love a hoop, and this one is huge and smooth and there's no casting. I mean, I suspect it's something to do with horses. It's definitely had some wear. It's a bit wonky, but it's an absolute beauty and I love those. And just down here, I mean, this stopped my heart slightly because I found one of these very recently. It's another English jetton, I think. I haven't picked it up yet, I've just seen it. But what I want to show, see if this works. Look at this dinky little speaker I bought. I'm hoping if I plug that in there, and this in here, isn't going to work, is it? Well, hang on a second. I'll plug that in there. I won't be able to hear it, but maybe the speaker will pick it up. It's got a tiny little, well, let's just see. I've had to put it here so it's close to the microphone. If it works really well, it may not work at all. Let's have a listen. No, that's completely rubbish. Oh yeah, look, listen. Now, I don't know if it's close enough to the mic. The idea being, I'll get some sort of clip that can do... God, it's windy. I'm not using my other camera, it'll fall over, so we'll just have to do with a little one today. Well, that sounds like what it is. Sounds a bit like a cartridge. Let me just... I'll deal with all this later. Yeah, here it is. And it is, my God, I'm a lucky It's an absolutely cracking one. It's got the king's head on one side and it's got the whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of that cross with the curly swivels. And it's absolutely immaculate condition. These are really rare. They're sort of late 13th century, early 14th century usually, and you get these before you get the French ones and the German ones, and the English ones went out of production after the French ones started becoming popular. But that one is a beauty. I can see a king with sort of earrings or pellets next to his ears. He's got a crown, a moulin. I think is it a moulin crown, a cross moulin or something, cross moulin or something. But anyway, that's what it is. And it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, I could go home now. I could go home on that. But let's not. I love talking about English jettons because they really are rare. I'll leave this here and we'll go to headquarters and come back to get them later. Hi there and welcome to headquarters. Well, my God, I mean, I think I can consider myself to be bloody lucky to have found one of these English jettons, which was in the last video. But to find another one in a completely different field, I mean, a long way apart, in a similar sort of condition is absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, it's very lucky up there. The soil is very, very sandy and it seems to treat most coins extremely well. I was right, it is called a cross moline. And I looked it up, moline, and it's a heraldic term to basically mean the cross goes out and then it sort of swings back on itself. And I've got the other one here to hand as well. They're very, very similar. They're very, very similar in size. One has got, the one I found the other day has the bishop on it, the bishop with his mitre, and this one has the just the monarch. They've got two different crosses on the back, and I also have to hand, which I didn't have last time, a very nice unclipped Edward penny, long cross as well, to show you that they are pretty much exactly the same size, and also to illustrate the fact that these coins, which started in the reign of Edward I, from about 1280 onwards, were very much imitating the style of the long cross penny of the time. Now, I think I'm right in saying that this monarchy one is slightly later. I found a very similar one online being sold by an auction house, and they dated to Edward II, rather, 1307 to 1327. It's not the same, but it's pretty similar, with the pellets going round the side, and the pellets on the monarch side are very similar as well. It doesn't look like the monarch's wearing earrings or pellets by his ears, which he is in this one, but just English jettons. I mean, absolutely wonderful. And I'm sorry if I have been boring you slightly about these, because they're my favourite things to find. I mean, as I said, I find far fewer good jettons than I do hammered coins. I think everyone does. And I'm not just meaning the English ones, I mean the French ones and the German ones. These English ones are the earliest type. They come in at the end of the 13th century. And they soon get taken over by the French ones in the sort of late 14th century onwards, and by the 15th and 16th century the German ones come in. I mean, it's quite an interesting subject, the jettons. And someone also did point out on my channel last week that they're supposed to be reckoning counters to do sort of mathematical equations on an abacusy type board or cloth that would have gone that way, and you would have lined up your jettons in the columns. But they just look too nicely made, some of these, to have been just sheer reckoning counters. Do we think that they might have been passed off as currency, or that they could have been used as a sort of currency in times of shortage as well? I mean, I don't know. What they do have, all these English ones, sometimes they have a hole going right through them, but more often than not, there's just a central piercing in the cross. You can see a little tiny little pinpricky type hole. Now, that's either something to do with the flans, and the dyes that they used, but it's also been suggested that that's to stop silvering if you had a hole going through the middle, and therefore you couldn't try and pass them off as the silver coinage of the day. Come on. A few of you mentioned Tasky recently. He's not coming out with me an awful lot at the minute because A, the livestock in the fields that I'm in, and B, it's serious pheasant and partridge season, and he gets incredibly excited about that. I mean, he'll just run after me, he'll just chase them. But the flip side is he does a lot of shooting with me, and when we're not actually shooting ourselves, I go around the back sort of picking up. He's the most incredible retriever. I have had a terrier that retrieved before Tasky, but Tasky's just extraordinary. I mean, absolutely like a bullet, bringing back birds and dropping them and going off and getting more. And I've got some video footage of someone who came and did some video the other day, and I might just do a little video of Tasky retrieving on my other channel, because I think it's quite funny. Anyway, thank you very much for that, and let's go back to the fields. Well, my God, would you look at that? Okay, firstly, not surprisingly, it was about 12 inches down. Look at this. Well, there were pot feet and pot legs and pot legs. Look at that. My God, that's a monster. And it weighs. I mean, that's pure bronze. It looks like it's in the form of a paw or a foot of sorts. Don't know if you can sort of see that, but wow, my God. I mean, I'm presuming that's what it is. A socking great pot leg. I mean, we often find these bits here, don't we? I mean, they're fairly easy to identify where the break is up a little bit higher, but that's obviously the foot of it. It's a stonker. That's got to be early. I think that's probably definitely medieval. Wow. Well, this is quite nice. It's a little bit foily sounding, but don't let that put you off with this machine. I've also lowered the audio response. I'd like to know what depth things are. So I've lowered the audio response just to 3, so I can feel that that's a little bit deeper, I think. And I've just found something really cool I need to show you anyway. Sorry if you're looking at the same. The wind's quite strong today, so you'll probably be getting much the same angle. Yeah, it's still in there. Sounding quite big. It's sounding quite foily. I've also just dug a ring pull at about 8 inches, so it's not to say that... Well, I don't know about this. This could go either way. That's that big silver buckle I found. Yeah, I'm pinpointing well today. It'll be just here. I'm finding a lot of lead too. And that could be another bit, I think. It's a socking great thing of iron. Thin iron. Really crappy iron. I will start knowing what is iron and what's not, but you cannot, if it's giving you an inkling of being something good, you can't ignore it with this. You can't. You can't with any degree of serious certainty, if you're running it on the program I'm running, say, unless it's really going, then it's obviously iron. But if it's giving you any sort of squeak around, you've got to try this. Just check there's nothing else. No, that was it. Anyway, look at this. I'll show you when I bought it out, because it was absolutely perfect in the clod. I took a photograph of it as I was taking it out, and you could really see the imprint. People get very excited about the imprints and what in the mud of what these things leave. I can't quite see it, quite honestly, why the imprint is so important. I couldn't really give a monkeys about the imprint. But anyway, there was a good imprint, and it's a little 17th century trade token. TB I can read of it. And it will definitely have a date, because they always do these things. I can't read it just right here and now, but it's in lovely condition. And we'll have a quick look at it when we next go back. We won't go back now. But that's just lovely. Really, really cool. Lovely thing. Well, I've no idea what's going on here. I thought it was going to be more exciting than what it is. I thought it might be... When I saw that, I thought it might be a brooch. I hope you can hear me. The wind's horrible. Sorry. But it's not. It's made of lead. And that side has got what looks to be the reverse of all sorts of sort of postmodern, post-medieval coins, doesn't it? The sort of sixpences and shillings, you see, of William and Anne and all that lot. And George, I think, even no, a bit earlier than him. But I don't know, maybe there's been shot or used as a target. God knows. What a strange thing, but it's lead. It's made of lead. I'll put it on the detecting hub. They'll know. They'll know exactly what it is. Well, I've got the other camera right, but it could blow over at any moment. It is just so windy. I can't even put my hat on. It keeps blowing off. I've just had a ballsy signal. Okay, I've lowered reactivity to 2 on sensitive full tones, and because it probably will give me a bit more depth, even though 2.5 is pretty good. I've just dug 3 things, pretty much one after the other. All 3 sounding really, really ballsy, and all 3 at about 7-8 inches. The ballsiest of the lot was this musket ball. I mean, it's only lead. Look, now I know this speaker works, I'll rig it up properly for next time. So it's right next to the microphone, and you'll hear exactly what I'm hearing. I can't get it the logistics are a bit tricky right at the minute, but I will sort that out for next time, I promise, and you'll hear everything. The second was this. Now, part of me thinks post-medieval, and a little tiny bit of me thinks it might be a little bit earlier, but God knows what it is. It's got 3 holes in it. I mean, it's probably a mount of sorts. I can't see really obviously where it's been fixed, but the inside of it looks to me to give it some age, whereas the outside of it with the pattern looks to me to be a bit post-medieval. So I just don't know. God knows what it was used for. Who knows? But quite unusual and quite cool. And then this. Now look, it's a beautiful coin and it's in lovely condition. It's the most incredible coin. It's a William III halfpenny, I think. Near Britannia on that side's a bit worn, and William on this side's a bit worn, but through wear. I mean, but through use. This coin is absolutely mint in a way, because there's no corrosion on it or the fact that it's been ruined from being in the ground, it's just smooth through wear, and you can clearly see Guillermo's tertius on that side, and it's just a beauty. These coins don't often fare well, they can come out really toasted. God, look at that wind. So that's 3 really cool things. We might whiz to headquarters just in case that's earlier than I thought. Okay? But I'll get this later. Well, wow. The reason we are here is because it is earlier. Now, and a few people agreed. It does look like it might be, that it could be sort of postmodern, especially with that sort of, it's just got a postmodernish feel about it. But then the inside just looks a bit crude, and then the spacing of all the holes and everything, that just looks a little bit sort of crude as well. And it just, part of me was really hopeful that it was an early piece. Now, I put it on the detecting hub, the best place for all this type of things, because you've got a load of people who really know their onions, and they did on this. Information below on the detecting hub, by the way. I put it up saying I can't put my finger on it, with some good photographs. A few people said maybe part of a cradle bell. That had crossed my mind, or maybe part of a bell that's fallen out, until you look at exactly how shallow it is. And by that I mean tall or high or deep, whichever way you're looking at it. It doesn't look very bell-like. I'm just trying to think what the adjective of bell is. I should know that. What do they call bell ringers? Anyway, that's going to really annoy me. There were a couple of people who got really close, actually, with the end of a sword pommel, or it could have been. But then Ian, who does know his onions, he's one of the people who really are good at their IDs. He just said, "Take a look at this." Or words to the effect of, because it's an Anglo-Scandinavian, it's a Britanno Viking strap distributor, and there you see the one there. It's got exactly the same design on it, it's got exactly the same sort of looking slightly crudish holes, so that's what it is. Now, how the hell it would have worked, I don't know. I have read here, it said the object was probably engaged with socketed hooks. Well, I'm not any the wiser for that. I hope you are, but maybe it's something that the hooks would have gone through there and it would have acted. I just don't know. Or, well, maybe the hooks would have gone through. This would have been what, and they would have been attached to various types of leather and all the rest of it. Or I mean, just who knows. Anyway, what's really, really exciting is it reckons between 900 and 1000. I mean, that's really early, and it's in lovely condition. So not quite sure what it was used for, but it's a very good piece of early medieval kit. I'm absolutely thrilled. It also mentions that the motif is similar to that found on Boré style stuff. Now, look, you may have seen these incredible brooches in a recent video. They're Anglo-Scandinavian Boré style brooches. And what gives them away is the sort of interwoven lace-like geometric shapes that go around, very symmetrical. And it's from a place in Norway where a hoard was found with this very much this style on everything. And these date to the same sort of era, 9th, 10th century. Now, it's not exactly the same, but maybe the sort of symmetrical design and all the rest of it is what they're reckoning is, does bring it to a little bit of a little bit of similarity. But anyway, absolutely, really, really thrilled with that. That field's becoming, it's not everywhere. It's hard work, that field, but it's exciting because it has got a bit of depth. Then really nice things have been turning up, as you will see from the next couple of videos. I mean, I've found some really, really cool things, right from sort of Saxon right through to sort of Georgian and beyond. I mean, it's just really, really exciting. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to all that, and let's go back to the fields. Well, that sounds nice as well. Sounds like the musket balls. Found a lot of musket balls, so I found a lot of lead today. But it just sounds clear. I'm looking forward to the new speaker and you'll be able to hear all this. Oh, that sounds... It's a socking great piece of flint in there. It's out. That's sounding clear. Well, we found an absolutely cracking English jetton, and now I think we found an absolutely cracking French one. I have found this sort of coin before, but I found slightly, well, it's not a coin, sorry, it's a token. But the ones I found have been thicker, but it's not been in such good condition as this. Now, I think this is an early French one. I can see the crown of France, or whatever it's called, on that side, and on the other is a classic sort of cross with the flowers and the fleur-de-lis and all the rest of it. Now, I thought the English one was in good condition. This is absolutely bloody mint. I mean, that's absolutely fabulous. I won't bang on about French ones now. I really want to go back. In a perfect world, I'll go back to headquarters and show you this close up. But you might be just getting a bit bored of jettons, because I find so many, and they're in such good condition. But when I think about it, I don't find nearly as many good ones of these as I do hammered coins. I find 10 times as many hammered coins as I do good jettons. And I just really, really like them. I mean, that's just an absolute beauty. Look, this is just too good to miss. We are going to go back for this, I'm afraid. Let's go, just for 2 minutes. Well, I mean, to find this English type and then this not an awful long way from it is really, really something. Now, I don't get quite as excited about French jettons as I do the English ones. But they don't seem to be nearly as abundant as the later German ones, the ones that come in the 15th and 16th centuries, the Nuremberg type they're called. I don't think I've got one to hand, but they're much thinner and much more mass produced. But to find a really good French one, here it is alongside the English one. To find a really good French one's absolutely lovely. And you've got the crown on one side, I think it's the crown of France or something like that, and you've got sort of fleur-de-lis and crosses and all the rest of it on the other side. Now that's not as early as the English types. There's a similar one here which looks slightly earlier. They date to 1360, from 1364 to 1380. I think this one's slightly later, maybe 1380 to 1420, something like that. But all the same, just a really, really special find to find one of those in as good condition as the English one on the same day. I mean, it's just wonderful. Really lovely coins. Anyway, let's go back to the fields. Well, look, I've just dug it and it's here, and it's another absolutely tiny coin. Now, I don't think this one is a token, which I thought the last one, the token, which is exactly the same size, I thought was one of these. But now I've found one of these. It's a rose farthing, or a royal farthing of Charles I or James. Let's try and get you in the sun, sorry. It's a low sun because it's that time of year. Look at that. They do not survive well, these coins. But you can clearly see quite a lot going on that, or I can at least. I'm out of the glare of the sun. Got the crown on one side, and then the shield. The dust isn't helping. We'll clean that up, but that's lovely. They're very fine coins, these. I think the dryness of the dust now has hidden the detail, but I'll show you a photo of it. Another ballsy signal. I think I'm going to have to lower the reactivity a bit more on this. I mean, not the audio response. I'm still getting very little idea on depth. Hope you can see me. I'm not sure the camera's at the right angle. That could be iron, actually. I think the sensitive FT program, it's going to be the one for me, even though it is hard work. It really is. You've got to be on your guard the whole time. Part of the reason I don't have the remotes, I don't want to be on guard the whole time. I like just sort of having a bit of a relax and a bit of a think about stuff. It's out and sounding squawky, but that's not a bad... It's not a great sign, but it's not a bad one with this necessarily. Oh, just another bit of lead. My God, I found a lot of this today. A lot of old lead. And that's jolly nice as well. Look at that. I mean, it's that, if you found it without the pin, you'd easily say that was a bit of horse tack, wouldn't you? Even though it's very squared off inside, and the pin's absolutely lovely. I don't know what it dates to, and it might have been one of those things which are, you know, have been used to make, you know, that it might be a later addition, the pin, but who knows? But that's bloody lovely. What a cool thing. A little brooch of sorts. My God, the wind's driving me a bit mad. I've got a bit of a headache. So we're going to end on this. This is as close to a wispy signal as I get these days. And this is lovely, I think. But I've no idea of the depth of it. I've no idea of the depth of anything with this machine, even though I have lowered the audio response. I might have to lower it a bit longer. I have dug things up which I thought were deep when they've been on the surface, and I've dug things up which I was convinced on the surface which are quite deep. Anyhow, well, it is still in there, so I've got half a chance with this. I've dug up a lot of lead today. I suspect it might be that again. But then again, buzzy, wispy sounds have been iron as well for me, so... It's not iron. It's sounding really nice, but I suspect it's lead. And it was deep. And it's there. And it is it's a tiny Roman coin, my God. Okay. That was deep, sounded wispy, was deep, and it was wispy. And it's a Roman coin, and it is... beautiful condition, Constantius, I think, or Constantinus. My God, that's a lovely one. I'm not going to rub that too hard, because if anything like the detail there is on that side as well, we've got a really good coin, so I've got to be a bit careful with it. It's got the soldiers and the standards, yup. My God, and it really was 8 or 9 inches down, and it was that. If you're still watching, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Here it is, look.